Hey ladies, it's Sunday morning, kind of day one. It doesn't feel like a Monday, but I guess in some ways it kind of does. I'm back at it. I was away for 10 days. I needed a little break from from the grind. And I say the grind with a smile on my face because I love the grind. However, I needed to create some space for just kind of the reflection of what's been going on. And then of course to look ahead and see what's next. I've noticed we've had a ton of new followers lately. So welcome. And I'm going to share with you a little story about where it all began with Fempreneur Marketing School back in early 2000 and what are we, 20? Yeah, so 2 years ago, 2019, we started, I started a marketing school, a 6-week marketing school, absolutely free for female entrepreneurs. We still run that marketing school today. I can see some of you ladies hopping on. You are actually in the class. That's one of the 2 classes that are running right now. So thank you for being here in the community and for just, jumping in with us. One of the things that I've learned lately, as I've been asking more and more ladies, I met a ton of ladies at the conference that we had in January. And one of the things that I learned from them is they were kind of like following the Fempreneurs channel here on Instagram for a while. And they were kind of like not really sure how to get into the community and how to connect with the women. And they were like, what is this all about? So I wanted to share with you just my heart and really where, all of this came from and where it's going. And I've had this time away to really reflect on all of that and think about it. So I actually woke up at 4:30 this morning. I was lying awake for quite a while, and I created a podcast episode kind of by accident. I practiced what I preach, and I grabbed my phone because I was like, all these things are going through my mind, and I hit the voice recorder button, and in my super croaky, not awake yet voice, I said all sorts of things. So what I'm doing right now is trying to recreate that for you, but this Tuesday's episode of the podcast is going to be me at 4:30 a.m. this morning, the croaky voice version of this. And I do think I did a really good job of articulating that. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to nail it. So if you're not a podcast subscriber yet, the podcast is called Fempreneur Marketing. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast and have a listen to that episode. So if you're new here, welcome. I created a marketing school because I felt the need for women. I saw so many women struggling with getting out there on social media, and I've always been a born leader, and I've always been more comfortable than most with getting out there and putting myself out there, but I still found it so hard to go onto social media and talk about the things that were really important to me, like my baby business and the struggles I was facing and the things I was creating and inviting people to attend events and talking about all the things that are important to me. I had a hard time with that. And one of the biggest things that was hard for me was knowing that there were going to be people that had been in my life for many years, people that had, I call my friends, who were going to maybe judge me, and we're going to think, who is she to go out on social media and, talking like an expert and thinking that she's better than us. And it was a real challenge, you guys. So I want you to know that I created the marketing school out of a need that I saw, not only in my own life, but also knowing that watching other women just kind of dip their toe into putting their business out there and then pulling back and being like, that was too scary for me. So if you're there and you're new here, you're just like, who is this Lyndsie chick? Who are all these ladies that are high-fiving each other on social media? And what is this marketing school thing all about? You're going to get all your questions answered this morning. What time is it? It's like 8 a.m. on Sunday. Been up since 4:30. I'm heavily awake and caffeinated and so excited to share all this stuff with you this morning. So feel free to type questions in the chat. I'm watching. Thank you. I am glad I'm home safe too. Feels good. I got my cute little doggy sleeping at my feet. And yeah, it feels good to be home, and it feels good to feel clear on what I want to share with you all. So again, I'm going to be specifically talking to those of you who are our newer followers or are fairly new to the community, and you're like, what do I do? How do I get in here? These ladies seem awesome. How do I actually meet them? Because obviously we're in a time in history right now where community is key, and community looks different than it has in the past. But I want to take you back to where it all started. And so the gold nuggets that I was learning, usually through trial and error and through really hard knocks, those are what I put into this 6-week marketing school. And I taught over 100 women that marketing school for free until just this past summer. So in June of 2020, I finally started charging for the marketing school. Not a lot, but something. And the marketing school takes women through the 6 fundamental marketing lessons that I had to learn the hard way, that I think a lot of women are just too terrified and unsupported to push through on their own. So I wanted to create a safe space for them. So the cool thing about the marketing school is it's 8 to 10 women that come together with you, and I take the hard part out of that. I find them and I bring them in for you. So you just have to show up. And you're instantly surrounded by and supported by like-minded ladies who are doing the same scary things you are. The hardest thing about getting out there on social media, I remember I've really had some time to think back to what it was like to be scared to put myself out there. It's been so long since I felt that way, but I've really been reflecting, and I've had some interesting conversations with some people that I haven't seen in a long time. And they're just now trying to get their baby businesses off the ground. And these are people that I would have never even thought would have a business idea. Like, they just didn't seem like that to me. And so they've been sharing some of their fears with me, and it took me back to what it felt like to be afraid to put myself out there. So I realized, and I'm writing my 3rd book. For those of you who don't know, I've written a couple books. My first one was called Money and the 39 Forever Mom, a personal finance book for moms. My second one called Find Your Voice on Social Media, which came out almost exactly a year ago. Been celebrating the 1-year anniversary of my baby book. That's now pretty grown up. And so it's time for the next one. And the next one is about building community, because what I've done over the last 2 years is build a really rock solid community. And between reflecting about the last 2 years of building that community, and then reflecting even further back to when I first got fired from my job as a financial advisor to when I had to start my own business and start getting out there on social media, reflecting on all of that is brought a lot of clarity to me as far as what this book is going to have in it for gold nuggets, and for what I'm going to be doing with the Fempreneur Community and my new team. I have a really solid team. For the first time in a long time, I can say I have a solid team behind me, helping me execute ideas and bringing their ideas into action. So what I want to share with you is that it's super scary to go out onto social media if you don't have a team. And that is the number one reason why Fempreneur Marketing School has been so life-changing for so many women. So this community started as a marketing school, and then it's kind of stumbled and fumbled its way along into becoming a real community. Thank you for your comments, you guys. Really appreciate having you here live with me. Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I will address them for sure. So without that real life community, what happens when you go out onto social media in the beginning, and I remember this and I had forgotten it, is you can post stuff and have 0 interaction, 0 likes, 0 comments. In marketing school, we call this crickets. And there are lessons in the crickets. But one of the biggest lessons in the crickets is you can't let the crickets cause you to just say, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. You have to be bolder and braver than that. You have to be in touch with your purpose. So one of the things that I love watching in the marketing school is these women get in touch with that person they were when they were a little girl. I don't know about you, but I was super creative as a little girl. I always had things that I wanted to build, and I wanted to teach others, and I wanted to see the smile on people's faces when I made something for them or did something for them. The marketing school really brings that out, because ultimately, as entrepreneurs, to be successful, we have to have a heart to serve. So the marketing school really fuels that fire, and it causes these women to just to just open up to each other in this safe place and start sharing their heart with each other and seeing that in this environment, in this community, you don't get ridiculed for that. You don't get made fun of for that. Because I know, because I've been there, that in a lot of circles, in a lot of communities that we choose to be part of for various reasons, we don't get high-fived when we share something really vulnerable on social media. We don't get that warm welcome feeling. So the marketing school is just this, and every single time it's been this way. It's this group of women who are strangers who come together, and they're like lifelong friends afterwards. And when you go out onto social media and you get crickets, it is really hard. But the cool thing about the marketing school is I guarantee you that's not going to happen. I basically built a system to protect you from feeling the way I felt so many times when I first started putting myself out there on social media. Because I remember just being like, did the post suck? Did I say something wrong? Did I post it at the wrong time of day? Did I look like an idiot? And it was just constant questions. So one of the things that I did very early on, after I got fired and started my own business, and this is something that I consider to be one of my very unfair advantages that I created for myself, is I hired a business coach. And so what I did was I took a lot of the gold nuggets from that coaching experience and put it into this marketing school. And the reason I hired this particular business coach was because he had written a few books, and I wanted to write a book. I wanted to put the number one reason I became a financial advisor was because I knew so little about money, and I wanted to learn about money and not just do all the things for myself. I wanted to share that stuff with others. So after a few years in the money business, I wanted to write a book for moms about money. Well, actually, I didn't know who exactly I was writing this book for at first. My business coach helped me figure that out. And I'm proud to announce that that is one of the biggest, awesomest things that happens in the marketing school is women come in not really knowing who to talk to or who to create products and services for. And they come away from the marketing school because of the safe environment, I think, and because of the honest, caring feedback that they get. They're like, oh, I should be serving this person, this specific niche. And then they can go out and they can do that. So that's kind of the first thing you need to know if you're new to the community here, if you're a new follower here on Instagram, is this community began with that free 6-week marketing school, which isn't free anymore, but it's super affordable. Actually, our next class starts up April 7th. And so as the community grew from more and more graduates from that program, and of course, as our Instagram followers grew and our email list grew, it was like, we need more than the marketing school. And one of the cool things we started doing at the very beginning of COVID was, so traditionally the Fempreneur community was very much a live event community. Other than like our marketing school, which always happens live, but on Zoom, we would come together live in person for fun parties, and we would do grad nights. So every time a new group of marketing school students finished the program, we'd have a grad night. And so the grads would come, and past grads would come, and women who were still kind of like not sure if they want to take marketing school would come and check it out. And it was super fun, and we had prizes, and oh my gosh, we even had a couple nights where karaoke started happening, and it was so fun. Then COVID hits, and I already had an event in the calendar. Thank you for the hearts, by the way. If you're on, please tap that heart button. By the way, that helps so much with the algorithm. If you're engaging with this video right now, if you're throwing comments in below, if you're tapping that heart, it's helping it reach more fempreneurs. So thank you for doing that. I was going to tell you about the fact that we had an event in the calendar. Our first ever Fab 5 speed dating event was supposed to happen in Calgary on 17th Avenue, live in person. And of course, it got canceled. And then I'm a youth leader at my church, and my youth pastor, thank you for all the hearts, ladies. Yeah. My youth pastor at my church had us doing youth group on Zoom, and he introduced me to this super cool thing called breakout rooms, which we're all probably pretty familiar with now. But 6-8 months ago, this was like friggin' mind-blowing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can still run my Fab 5 events on Zoom and use the breakout room feature and run 5 breakout sessions so that they get 5 individual speed dates with a different fempreneur. So that's what we did. We did our first ever Fab 5 speed dating event on Zoom. It went super well. Actually, even before that, we did a practice run, and I had a bunch of ladies jump on for the practice run. That was awesome too. I think we're at over 20 Fab Five events now under our belt, and every single time new women who we've never met show up and connect to, like, real connections to other female entrepreneurs. The stories that I've heard are probably a fraction of what's actually going on, but really amazing connections and collaborations have come out of those Fab Five speed dating events. And the Fab Five speed dating events then morphed into our Fempreneurs conference. We had a leadership and marketing conference in January. Many of you watching this maybe were introduced to the community at that time. That was maybe how you started following us on Instagram, because we did this incredible marketing campaign that kind of started like a little baby idea in my brain, and I started kind of sharing it with my Fem team girls. I'll get to the Fem team part of the story in a minute. Yeah, I love the Fab Five events. Awesome. Thanks for the comments, ladies. Keep them coming. And yeah, so we dreamt up this conference and of course realized that we could run the whole thing on Zoom. It ended up being a huge success. 4 days, 31 speakers, tons of new ladies were introduced to the Fempreneur community. And as we got closer and closer, we even got like awesome traditional media coverage. We were on the news. It was an incredible experience, really, really cool. Oh my gosh, so many connections were made and so much learning happened. But what I realized is I was almost making one of my classic mistakes leading up to the conference, because before Fempreneur Marketing School, and for those of you who have hosted events, like virtual events, and brought women together, or people together to teach them something, you know, you get the common interest people together. If you're like me, then you've probably made this mistake a number of times, which is you get them together and you have this awesome event, and then you're like, okay, that was awesome, sweet, okay, yeah, we'll keep in touch. Everybody's got their, you know, their Instagram handles in the chat. Yeah, cool, okay, sweet. Take care, bye. And I don't have anything for anybody to do after. I did that so many times, you guys. I held workshops at the library. I held like virtual stuff. And then it was always like, and now you guys have each other, right? You guys are good? Okay. I'm going to go figure out my next thing that I'm going to do now, instead of having the next thing already figured out so that people can step into the next step, right? So I don't do that anymore. So I learned from that mistake long ago. So as we're building the conference, I'm like, what are we going to do with these people after? Like, yeah, the marketing school is awesome. And of course I want everyone to take the marketing school, but I'm one person. You know, the reason why I wanted to have a conference was to bring together all sorts of educators in the realms of leadership and marketing. We had all sorts of self-help and just self-discovery sessions. It was an incredible meeting of the minds. So what I realized after researching some different online community platforms is we could continue the conference vibe. We could continue bringing in educators, continue having live workshops where everyone shows up at the same time on the same place, can see each other, can interact with each other, and make new connections. So like the Fab Five kind of thing with the education thing, like the conference. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So we launched it. Talked about it throughout that whole 4 days. Official launch party happened on I think it was the Friday night. And it is awesome. We hit 30 members this past week. So I'm going to make some changes in that community so that when people go, they can actually see who's there and start to interact with each other. There's some features in there that I haven't even explored yet, but I've been nerding out on a little bit. So long story short, Fempreneur Land, the official online community, a paid members only community, was launched from the conference. So that's a mix of grads, marketing school grads, and people that haven't taken that training yet, and people that came to the conference and were just wowed by the sense of community and the fact that we're a bunch of women that not only are constantly learning, but we're also doing. So that community is launched. So that's kind of been the progression of where this community started and where we are now. There are a few more pieces to the story which I was brewing up while I was driving and hanging out my little Airbnb and doing some writing for my third book on community, which I don't have a title for yet. So if you have any title ideas, would love to hear them. And take a sip of my coffee here. Yeah, so what I want to share with you now is a little more about how, because I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, how does she do all this stuff, right? Like, how does she do all the things that I'm hearing her say she's doing, right? Not very scalable, because any community, and I consider myself to be an expert community builder now, any community starts with very non-scalable activities. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm trying to build my online community right now. That's a big part of why I want to learn from Fempreneurs, and I want to be part of the Fempreneur community because I want to take what's working in that community back into my community. If this is where your head is at, you're in the right place, okay? So when it comes to building community, you got to do a lot of non-scalable things, which means message instant, like you see you have a new community member, whether it be a new email subscriber or a new follower, you reach out to them. And if you don't have time to do it because maybe you have a day job and this is a side hustle, you invest a little bit of money in someone to do that for you. There are a few girls here in the community that, you know, can help you with that. Yeah, so long story short, you have to be super engaged with your community. So of course I taught a live in-person marketing school to over 100 women. That's how I built the foundation for the community that you see when you go to our website, when you go to, you know, when you Google us and you see videos and pictures. That's how I started this community. So one of the things that really changed recently is after about anywhere from 6 to 9 months of working with my Fem Team girls, who are graduates of the marketing school that took the next step and joined my mastermind group, I really all of a sudden looked and saw that I had this rock solid group of ladies. Some of you are on right now. My heart is so full because you're in my life. Yes, they joined the marketing school and Fem Team to help themselves and to help grow their businesses, but they ultimately created a stronger community here for all of you because they invested in each other. They showed up to Fempreneur Marketing School as kind of like assistant teachers. They have just picked up and ran with the ball when I've asked them to. It's been incredible. So they are the reason why this next chapter of Fempreneur Land with the online community and the next group of Fem Team and all the things that you're going to experience if you stay with us, they are in this now. And we're kind of in a transition period right now, and some of them are probably watching this like, okay, I don't know what she's gonna say here. But I'm about to fill you in. So if you're new to the community, this is going to be great for you. But if you've been around for a while, this is going to make probably a little more sense what I'm about to say. So just to recap what we've been talking about, if you're just hopping on now to the live video, we've been talking about the origination, is that a word? The origin, sorry, the origination is not a word. The origin of this community that you're experiencing. So Fempreneur Marketing School, and then we just recently launched Fempreneur Land after our super awesome conference that we had in January. And now I'm telling you about Fem Team, which is a mastermind group. So I like to call myself the Mary Poppins of marketing. I like to swoop in on my umbrella and, help you, teach you stuff. And then I don't actually fly away on my umbrella like Mary Poppins, but I kind of sort of think of it like that, where it's like, hey, you're good now. And now I want you to go into the community and help the other women learn all the things. I want to dump my nerd brain onto you, and I want you to take it and run with it. And not only in your own business, but in other women's businesses too. And so that is what happens with the Fem Team girls. They come in and they crush a whole bunch of stuff in their own business, but that servant heart comes out, and then they end up helping more women too. So now what I've got is a whole bunch of women that have graduated from Fem Team, meaning they don't need me anymore. They don't. They're here because the community's awesome and they like that I'm, building a community that they're a part of, but they don't need me anymore. What I need from them is help with building and growing and nurturing this community. So what we're going to be launching real soon is going to be called the Fempreneur Land Experience Team. So I'm going to be giving those spots first and foremost to my Fem Team grads. They can come in and be part of that experience team. And that team will be really, they'll be highlighted across all of the platforms, but and I haven't mentioned this yet, where we actually host the online community called Fempreneur Land is on a platform called Patreon. Patreon. Now I researched online platforms and why we went to Patreon and not a Facebook group is a number of reasons. One of which is that if I ever for some reason got booted off of Facebook, my Facebook group would be gone. I mean, it would probably still be there. I'd probably hopefully be able to assign someone else to take care of it, but I would not be in there anymore, which would really suck. So I also wanted a place that had kind of like a Teachable, for those of you who are like Teachable or Thinkific, kind of like that online course feature built right into it, interaction between members, of course. But then also it costs something to be there. So it takes away those people that are maybe just kind of hanging out and they're not really engaged. So we don't have any of that. So we have 30 women in Fempreneur land, hopefully going to be growing by a few members a week forever. And it's a really cool place. And I'm not sure if we're going to be on Patreon forever. I'm not really sure. I'm shopping still. But we have live events in there. So it's like a constant conference in there. We've got leadership and marketing education all the time. And I really am leaning on my Fem Team grads and all of the other women I met through the conference who are leaders to come in and teach all of you. So if you're not in Fempreneur land yet, you're going to want to check it out. You're going to be welcomed by one of our wonderful welcome wagon ladies, and all sorts of exciting things will happen, and you will get to experience real learning. One of my favorite quotes that I've been saying a lot, you may have heard me say recently, is, if all it took is knowledge, we'd all be billionaires with six-pack abs. So what do we need? We need accountability. We need deadlines, okay? I'm also reading a book right now called Scarcity. It's saying a lot of things that I've known to be true for a long time, but it's causing me again to reflect back on that person that I was before I had the guts to boldly go onto social media and share my heart and my just all those things inside me that I was nervous to share, even though I knew they were true and they were valuable. I was nervous. So this Scarcity book is really interesting because it's really highlighting the reasons why Fempreneur Marketing School works and why so many women rave about it. And a big part of it is the safe space and knowing that you're supported and knowing that you're not the only one doing crazy things, but it's also the deadlines. And you know, if we miss a deadline and it's just us and maybe one coach that knows about it, it's like, But if it's a whole team of women who you love and respect and you know are counting on you, you're going to work a little harder. So there's a lot of cool things that I've learned about building community. And so I've really tried to bring as much of that into Fempreneur land as possible. What else I want to share with you? So Fempreneur land is always available. It's a great place for you. I'm about to launch another Fem Team. So all of my girls that have been in Fem Team, some of them committed to multiple trimesters. We do 3-month chunks typically. This next one's going to look a little different, but you know, I had some women that stayed, and it was so awesome. And now I have them on my team to help the Fempreneurs that are new grads that aren't even in marketing school yet. It's incredible. So what I have decided to do, because I am writing my 3rd book, is take women on the book writing journey with me. And so this is going to look like women who, like, the only Fem Team members that will be in this particular Fem Team mastermind group will be writers who want to have their book done in the next 6 to 12 months. And the reason why I'm so excited about this is I looked back while I was driving and, you know, skiing and whatever, hanging out, doing my little sabbatical. And I was thinking about how important it is to be active on social media while you write a book. So writing a book for me was the most pivotal thing, experience, accomplishment, goal that I checked off that I ever did in my entire career. And it set me up for more connections, more just awesome opportunities than I ever thought possible. So if you're thinking about writing a book, you need to reach out to me. We need to talk about whether or not this next mastermind group is right for you. It's going to be a small group of 6 to 8 women. So what I want to do with this group of 6 to 8 women in my mastermind group is take them through the success steps of launching a book and obviously writing the book too. But while you're writing the book, you need to be active on social media and you need to be asking your audience what they want to see in the book. You need to be giving them little tastes of the book, right? You need to have strict deadlines. You need to have a team. You need to have someone that's waiting for that next chunk of your writing because they're going to edit it for you. You need all of that. And that was really what I built around myself when I was writing my book, and discovered through trial and error what I needed. And so I'm excited to be able to offer that to any of you Fempreneurs who want to write a book. The spots will go to Fempreneur Marketing School grads. So if you're not a marketing school grad, there's still a chance that you can get in if there's room by the deadline, which I haven't decided yet, so stay tuned for that. If there's still room by the deadline and the spots aren't all filled with grads, and there will be spots for non-grads. But I do encourage you, if you haven't been a part of the marketing school before, get registered for the April 7th class, because everything we do in the Fem Team writing group, which I haven't named yet, we're calling it the Fem Team writing group for now. Everything that you do in there is built off the foundation of the marketing school principles. So you're gonna need to be in the marketing school either simultaneously or be a past grad. So I wanted to share all of that with you this morning because it's just finally time. I've been, a little quieter on social media this last little while I've been kind of just in my head and thinking about what I want to do in the next little while. Been really excited about this next book that I'm working on. Love the scarcity concept. A lot of you know I talk about scourgency a lot, which is a term that I learned from Pat Flynn. If you're not a Pat Flynn fan, check out his podcast, Smart Passive Income. The scourgency concept is so key. I'm one of those people that builds pretty much everything at the last minute because I know myself now. I trust myself that I have the knowledge or I have the Wi-Fi connection to do the research and I can build the things that I'm supposed to build. I trust sort of that higher power that when I don't try to micromanage and control everything, that the right message will come through me. So I encourage you to do that. If you're someone who's been frozen and who hasn't been taking action on a specific thing that you want to do, then I encourage you to trust. I encourage you to just put a title on it, put a date on it, put a price tag on it, put an early bird price tag on it, get it out there, get the people in, share your heart when you're talking about this opportunity that you want to share with people. Share your heart, share your story of why you built it and how it can change lives based on some of your personal experiences. And when you get a few people signed up for it, because this is how I built the marketing school, the first ever Fempreneur Marketing School, when you get a few people signed up for it, then you can start to think about what you want to build. But you don't want to do that until you've talked to those few people. So back when I said that building a community starts with a ton of stuff that's not scalable, like those one-on-one conversations, that's what you need to be doing. If you are a new community leader and you're starting a new community of people who are all coming together because they want this niche kind of area of knowledge, they have a common goal, then you need to be interacting with them one-to-one, okay? And then you need to, as your community grows, you need to create ways for them to interact one-to-one, right? It's not always about you just doing what I'm doing right now and just talking to the masses. You want to also reach out to them and send them messages. So if you're new here to Fempreneur Land, welcome. Get into our online community if you need ongoing education and connection. Let's face it, we aren't in online communities for content and education. We are in online communities for connection. And that's what you're going to get here in our Fempreneur community if you join the Patreon group. And if you check out marketing school, it's going to blow your mind. You're going to be one of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, never really exactly sure how many will be in there, but you're going to be one of a small group of women who is going to feel heard and safe, and you're going to learn tons. And again, if all it took was knowledge, we'd all be billionaires with six-pack abs. So you're going to get deadlines, you're going to get steps, you're going to get a team cheering you on and helping you along the way. If you have any questions at all about anything that I've shared today, please reach out to me. Just send me a DM here on Instagram. Would love to get to know you personally if we haven't met yet. And I hope you have a fabulous Sunday. And thank you so much for all of you for watching. And please tag any Fempreneur below this video that you think needs a community, needs some courage to help get their business off the ground. Like, let's face it, ladies, there's money out there to be made. And all you got to do is show up and do that thing you love with some systems and some processes and some accountability. And there can be so many more income streams coming into your household. And you just got to do those things that most people aren't willing to do. And this is a crazy group of crazy, awesome ladies who do just that. So stick with us. All right. Have a great day. And thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.